The engine revs up super quick though. There we go. All right guys, what's going on? GR86. I don't know how I went, 3 years without driving this car since it came out in 2022. We're gonna go for a quick POV drive. This is not just any old GR86 though, it's the Yuzu Edition. Over the years, the GR86 has seen a number of limited editions. In fact, it feels like, to me, as someone who's never driven this car, that's all they've come out with. They had the original, just kind of special edition in 2023. They had the Truno edition. They had the Hakone edition last year, and then now Yuzu edition. So I'll give you guys the cliff notes before we go for a quick drive. Under the hood, of course, is the same 2.4 liter naturally aspirated Subaru Boxer for 228 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. That peak torque is right in the middle. It's about 3,700 RPM. It's not about 3,700 RPM. It is 3,700 RPM for peak torque. And of course, one of the major benefits with this engine, it's kind of funny how it says Toyota there. Subaru, at least Subaru gets their 50-50 shot. It's got a really low center of gravity. So that helps, of course, by definition, to keep the weight down low in the car. It's not quite 50-50 weight distribution here. It's 53 front and 47 rear. And that engine, of course, is basically, you know, it's as far back as it can go, but it's pretty much dead over top of the front axles. With this Yuzu package, of course, you get this yellow, Yuzu yellow. You also get, here in Canada, it's not optional, this body kit, which you get a couple of GR logos there, one there, one there. These, are they real? No, those are fake vents. Of course, those ones aren't exclusive to the Yuzu edition. These are real, of course. Some extraction going on there, and just, you know, a body kit that looks very boy racer, if you will. It looks very, yeah, 2000s tuning culture without going over the top. I think it looks great. It is similar to the Integra Type S. It feels a little bit tacked on, but what are you gonna do with a body kit that you can, in the US, spec just on the spec sheet? So you don't actually have to get this Yuzu edition to get this body kit in the US, or this quad tip exhaust, which I just think looks unreal. It's the first GR86 to have a quad tip exhaust, and it has a little GR logo there, huge exhaust tips. It looks great. Yeah, would I classify myself as a yellow car guy? Absolutely not. But if there was a kind of a car to lean into a bright yellow like this, I think the GR86 is perfect, because the demographic for this car is a lot younger than something like a Supra, or, well, of course, because of the price, the upcoming GR GT. So it's also got Sachs dampers and these Brembo brakes, upgraded brakes, 4-piston in the front. I believe they're 2-piston in the rear. I believe I'm correct in saying that. So you do get that. Those two items, however, are part of the performance package in the US. And another packaging thing here in Canada is that you cannot spec the performance package in Canada on any trim level for the GR86. So this is the only way to get the upgraded dampers and Brembo brakes here in Canada. You guys are probably sick of hearing me talk, so we are actually gonna start driving in a second. A decently sized trunk, nothing to write home about. And we're on winter tires, we're on snow tires, because it's cold out and we're in Canada. So whoever spec'd this for the press fleet was kind enough to do that. It's not below freezing, but it's about 4 or 5 degrees out Celsius. You get a plaque here too. So it's not just a special edition with a few options. It is limited here in Canada to 30 units. This is one of 30. So will this appreciate? I'm gonna say no, you guys. Given that all of these options, literally all of these options, except for the color, on the outside and the color of the stitching on the inside are optional or able to be spec'd on any other trim level of the, well, not any other trim level, but the premium trim of the GR86 in the States. It's a bit confusing, but long story short, it's the color you're paying for. So 30 in Canada and 860 total. So you guys in the States get a lot more than we do up here in Canada. That Subaru shake when the engine fires up is so, like if I had a blindfold on and somebody threw me in this car and started it up, or any Subaru for that matter with a boxer engine, I would know immediately. It's got that side-to-side shake. The only option should be, for you specifically, a 6-speed manual. I'm just gonna impose my personal opinion. Inject that right here. I think you guys know that if you're watching this video. The manual is the only way to go. All right, we're gonna put it in track mode. Loosens up traction control just a little bit. I don't believe it turns it all the way off. I think that beeping was telling me it's cold out. Immediately, just right before the corner. These do have, of course, double wishbone rear suspension. So, unlike an ND MX-5, which tend to get a little bit uneasy when they break loose in the rear, I've never felt truly confident when those cars do get loose. And I think a lot of that comes down to the suspension setups. And yeah, the MX-5 does not have double wishbone in the rear. It does have that in the front, but it just soaks up bumps so well here, even though it is incredibly stiff. You do really have to want to drive a lightweight front engine rear wheel drive manual car on a daily basis. You know, if this is your weekend only car, sure, these dampers, you could deal with it, you know, just on the weekend. Maybe I'm getting old. The seats are great. The seats kind of save it a little bit. They're really comfortable, hold you in well, but if you're driving over rough roads, man, it beats you up. That phrase gets overused a lot, I think, but here it stands so true. If you guys thought that extra noise there on that pull was some kind of extra performance motor, something, that was not the case. That was a train. It got me off guard for a second. I'm like, wow, something just opened up with this engine. It's making a lot more noise. One of the things I don't really love about the way this drives the inputs, and this is a very kind of small thing, you get used to it because everything else is so great. The steering, the brake feel, the shifter, it's all top notch for a car with electric power steering, etc., etc. But the throttle mapping is so strange, even in track mode here. And you see this in a lot of cars with not that much horsepower, that don't have a ton of power. The top of the pedal is where you get all of the calibration, all of the input. So what do I mean by that? 20, 30% throttle, it feels like, wow, this engine has a ton of torque. Even like here, 3,500 RPM, and it gives you a spike of torque, but then 50% throttle to 100% throttle, like there's 50, there's 100. There's basically no difference. So around town, it makes it feel a lot quicker than it really is when you really get into it. The engine revs up super quick though. There we go. So it will, once you get past a certain point, it'll try and save you, even in track mode. That is nice though, an NA engine, you hear the throttle body opening. If you don't have music on, you're rev matching. This is based on the premium trim. I guess I forgot to mention that. So you do get heated seats. Wireless, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto is not available actually, so it's all wired. And then you get some leather, the seats are leather trimmed, and you get some Alcantara bits. Ultra suede, I guess they call it. This engine is so easy to over rev. It revs up real nice and quick. And that has a lot to do with the throttle calibration I'm talking about at the top of the pedal. And they did in last year's update, they did mention that they played with the throttle calibration to specifically, they mention help with rev matching and downshifting. It's still a little bit inconsistent. It's not the easiest to get used to in terms of just that. That's the only thing. Anything else, everything else about this car, you can just hop in and drive, and it's so friendly, as should be the case with a car with this formula. A formula as old as time, lightweight. Like I said, front engine, manual transmission, rear wheel drive. 2,800 pounds, just over 2,800 pounds is what this weighs. So starting price here in Canada for the Yuzu Edition, $45,000 Canadian. For you guys in the States, $36,000 USD. So take your pick. I mean, there are not a lot of cheap cars remaining. And this is a great excuse to get something cheap. It has everything you need. Like, heated seats for me is kind of a must, but like I said, I'm getting old. This even actually has radar cruise control. I can show you that in a second, but not totally rare nowadays on manual cars, but good to see. On a side note, all GR86s come with a limited slip differential out back. I mean, I like playing in track mode. Track mode allows you just enough slip to have fun. It definitely, it gets sideways like real quick, and the throttle calibration does not help with that. I wish, and I said this in the full review, but I think it's worth mentioning here too, I wish in track mode, you know, normal mode, sure, do the whole, it rev hangs too, so sure, normal mode, do the whole daily driver friendly thing, throttle calibration up top, make it really twitchy and feel like it's torquey, rev hang all you want, but when I put it in track mode, I want all of that to go away. Give me a perfectly one-to-one linear throttle map. So if I'm at 50%, I want to just feel like I can just kind of roll in versus having this kind of sudden spike in torque right at the bottom. What do you guys think of the exhaust? They are pumping in fake noise here. There's absolutely some augmented I don't know if it's pulling from the natural kind of resonance or sound from the engine. I don't think it is. It is definitely coming through the speakers though. I don't think it sounds bad. I'm not too offended by it here. I don't think Boxer 4s sound the best. I also don't think they sound that bad. I think this sounds way better than a GR Corolla. The GR Corolla does nothing for me in terms of sound, but this exhaust does drone. If you're below 3,500 RPM and you're on throttle, it's under load, it'll drone. On the highway here, just cruising, it does not drone, which is great. We've been averaging about 10 liters per 100 kilometers. It's like 23, 24 miles per gallon, I think. So it's still pretty good. That's the benefit of an NA engine. With a turbo engine, GR Corolla, the difference between cruising on a freeway in that car and throwing that thing around full throttle on a back road is so huge because you have all this boost. I think it's 25 or 26 pounds of boost going through a little 3-cylinder engine, right? Here, it's really predictable. There's not a huge gap between just commuting like this and then really getting deep in the throttle pedal, which is kind of nice. I think turbo engines are, as much as I love them, I think they're overrated in a lot of scenarios. And one of those is fuel economy. They're just not ever nearly as fuel efficient as we all would have hoped. There we go. No feet on the pedals. That's radar cruise control. Anyways, you guys, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. 2026 GR86 Yuzu Edition. Let me know in the comments what you think, especially about the price. I mean, I find it tough to complain because it is an affordable car. This car specifically, without the Yuzu Edition package, it's an affordable car to begin with. So the package specifically, 45,000 Canadian, 36,000 US, is that too expensive? Let me know in the comments below. We'll see you soon.